We called it home, a world of deep blue oceans and vibrant green land. We knew its winds and its rains. We knew its mountains and its valleys. It was our cradle. Our entire history was written on its continents. We never knew we were living inside a loaded gun. We spent our centuries looking up at the stars. We dreamed of meeting others. We were hopelessly, beautifully naive. We thought the universe was an empty room waiting for us to enter. We were wrong. It was a crowded arena, and we were standing in the center. Their ships arrived without a sound. They were massive, obsidian things. They eclipsed the constellations we knew by name. One moment, there was Jupiter. The next, a void. A fleet of silent hunters blocked out the stars. They did not answer our hails. They ignored our messages of peace. They only watched our azure marble turn. We sent probes to get a closer look. The probes simply vanished from our screens. No explosion, no wreckage. Just gone. It was the universe politely telling us we were out of our league. We felt like ants watching a boot descend. We learned their name, the Cathar. We did not learn it from a friendly greeting. We learned it from their first and only broadcast. The message was not in any of our languages. It was a raw transmission of intent. Data streamed into our networks. It showed star maps and energy signatures. It showed worlds like ours, hollowed out, turned into weapons. They saw our world not as a cradle of life. They saw it as a crucible of power, a perfect sphere of resources, a dense core for their next great machine. They were cosmic architects, and their blueprint required our demolition. They gave us one cycle to depart our home forever, a single rotation of our planet. Just over 24 hours. Any human left on the surface would be considered part of the raw material. The message ended, and the silence returned. A countdown had begun, one that ticked in the heart of every person alive. Panic was a tidal wave. Despair was the air we breathed. We had a choice. Become refugees among the stars, or become fuel for their fire. They figured we were a sensible species. They assumed we'd pack our bags and run. Sometimes, being underestimated is the only weapon you have left. Our finest warships charged into the fight. They were vessels of pride and courage. They carried the hopes of billions. Our grand admirals gave stirring speeches. They spoke of defiance and victory. We watched from our screens on the ground. We saw our fleets fire their opening salvos. Lances of pure energy crossed the void. They splashed harmlessly against unseen shields. The Cathar ships did not even seem to notice. Then they responded. There was no light show, no grand explosion. Our ships were just erased. One by one, they vanished from the tactical grid. It was a quiet, clinical act of pest control. We boarded the arks. Our entire species became refugees. It was the most orderly evacuation in history. There was no time for anything else. Families walked in silent lines up the ramps. They carried small bags and heavy hearts. Many scooped up a handful of soil. They sealed it in containers as a final keepsake. We took our pets. We took our data banks. We took our grief. From the viewport, we watched our blue marble shrink. It became a painful, perfect memory. The cradle was now behind us. The cold, dark void was ahead. We knew we were a people without a planet, a culture without a home. A young analyst found a secret. Her name was Ilara. She stared at the energy readings from the Cathar fleet. Everyone else saw overwhelming power. She saw a pattern, an echo in their energy grid. Their impenetrable shields had to refresh. It was a tiny flaw, a millisecond of vulnerability. But it was there. She ran the numbers again and again. Her computer smoked. She barely ate or slept. Finally, she looked up from her screen. She called her supervisor with a steady voice. She said they built the galaxy's most advanced fortress, but they left the back door unlocked. Their greatest strength was also their greatest weakness. The plan was simple, and it was insane. We held a council of war aboard the flagship Ark, the Voyager. The remaining admirals and leaders gathered. Alara presented her findings. The shield refresh was the key. We could not destroy their fleet from the outside, but maybe we could from the inside. We would let them begin their work. We would let them build their doomsday machine around our home. Then, when the weapon was almost complete, we would use their own network against them. Some called it madness. Others called it our only chance. The vote was unanimous. We would not run. We would fight. Our remnant forces began to strike. We were ghosts in the solar system. Our small, fast ships darted from the shadows of moons. They hid in the dense rings of Saturn. We could not win a direct fight. So we became a nuisance. We hit their supply convoys. We destroyed their automated mining drones. We taught them that humanity was not easily broken. Every small victory was broadcast to the Ark fleet. It was a spark of hope in the darkness. The Cathar barely registered our attacks. To them, we were mosquitoes buzzing in the night. They never imagined the mosquitoes carried a deadly fever. They never thought we'd dare to land on their hand. A small team volunteered for the final mission. They were our best soldiers, our most brilliant engineers, and one quiet analyst named Alara. Their mission was to return to a dying world. They would ride a stealth ship back into orbit. They had to land on a planet being torn apart. They had to navigate the chaos of the Cathar terraforming, or rather, their world breaking. The team stood before us before they left. They did not look like heroes. They looked like ordinary people. They were grim, determined, and ready. We all knew we might be sending them to their graves. But it was a grave they chose, a grave named Earth. We watched them turn our home into an engine of ruin. The Cathar were efficient monsters. They cracked continents with gravity beams. They boiled away the seas for coolant. The sky turned from blue to a burning, toxic orange. Giant structures grew from the planet's crust. They were like metallic tumors. They reached from the surface deep into the mantle. Our beautiful blue marble was gone. It was replaced by a half-finished sphere of death, a world-forged weapon. The team's ship slipped through the debris field. They reported their progress in hushed whispers. They were landing near the old Andes mountain range, or what was left of it. The team reached the weapon's heart. It was deep within the planet's exposed core. They moved through geothermal vents and maintenance tunnels. The heat was immense. The noise was deafening. Cathar drones patrolled the corridors. Our soldiers moved like wraiths, silent and deadly. Alara guided them. She saw the energy network not as a wall, but as a ladder. She found a path through their firewalls. They finally reached the primary energy conduit. It was a river of pure, star-born power. This was the moment. The final defiant switch against our enemy. It was not an off switch. It was a feedback loop. The weapon did not fire. It imploded. From our view on the Ark ships, we saw the change. The orange glow of Earth intensified. It became a brilliant, blinding white. The Cathar Armada was still in formation. They orbited the planet, ready for the first test fire. They must have felt a tremor, a surge of unexpected energy. We saw their shields flicker all at once. It was the refresh cycle Alara had found. In that single millisecond of vulnerability, it happened. The energy meant for others consumed its creators. The weapon devoured itself. It took the entire Cathar fleet with it. There was only a silent flash of light. Their armada was gone. But so was our home. The flash faded. Where Earth once orbited, there was a new star, a small incandescent sun. It burned with the fury of our sacrifice. It was a memorial of impossible energy. We had won. Humanity had survived. But we paid the ultimate price. We floated in the silence of space, a fleet of homeless souls. We looked upon the pyre of our world. Victory felt a lot like grief. There were no cheers. There were only tears. We had saved our species by sacrificing our cradle. The paradox of our existence was now a star. We drift between worlds now. We are the star forged. Our arcs are our new homes. We are a nation without land. But we are not hopeless. We are not broken. We carry the memory of Earth with us. It is our shield against despair. It is our spear against any who would threaten us. We learned a hard lesson in the dark. The universe does not give you peace. You must make it. We are the children of a world we destroyed to live. And we will never forget the price of our freedom. We are humanity. And our journey has just begun.